Decksplash is part Tony Hawk Pro Skater, part Splatoon, making it Splatoony Hawk. You play as a sentient skateboard which, for reasons unknown, lays down a big old sploosh of paint whenever it lands a successful trick. Your goal is to paint more of the environment than the enemy team by performing sick tricks, brah! All footage was captured from the closed alpha of the game, which means it's not representative of the final version. If you want to sign up to play test the alpha, head over to their website and register. There's a link in the description for this video. Now that's out of the way, what's the game like? It's almost impossible not to make comparisons between Decksplash and Splatoon. They both love splooshing paint all over the place and have that skater mentality in its presentation. It's not a bad thing. Hell, I used to skateboard myself, and I get the feeling that these types of games spawned because of developers being around my age and growing up with the Tony Hawk series and the punk rock genre made famous by Offspring, New Found Glory and Sum 41. My Steam name is a play on the name of a punk rock ska band, for goodness sake, and I still get chills whenever I hear Superman by Goldfinger. The alpha had a single game mode called Turf War, where teams of three would vandalise as much of the stage as possible in paint to match their gang colours. Sounds fair enough, except unlike the ruffians on my street, you're not tagging the local skate parks by spraying up a selection of misspelled profanities. Instead, it's more like carrying a big old bucket of paint and just happen to spill it all over the floor. Who needs fancy words when you can just sploosh a bit of yellow in public? Sorry, that sounded a bit weird. No doubt by now you've worked out the core mechanic. I mean, I've been showing the videos in the corner right there. Skateboard, do trick, maybe grind, land, paint, explosion. That's about it. I mean, there's a lot more control than traditional skateboard games because you're manipulating every angle of the rotation. To start out with, it's a little bit tricky, but in time you start picking up on patterns which mean you can exploit the game. I lost on one single game because I was foolish enough to start mucking around with the button mapping mid-game, and for that, I must send out a sincere apology to my team for letting them down. I was playing with a 360 controller. You manipulate the rotation of the board with the left stick, spin the board heel flip or kick flip style with the left and right bumper, and control the position while in midair with the right stick. Now, I really wanted to get into the control scheme to perform epic lines because I never truly felt like I had complete control. In the end, I spent a lot of my time bouncing around the place as much as possible, which was a viable strategy giving me 30 to 40% paint coverage. But I really wanted to perform some sweet grinds, but epic lines was not really rewarded. Some parts of the controller seem to be having their own turf war, as while on the ground you control the movement of your board with the left stick, but at the moment you're in the air, the positioning of your board is controlled with the right stick. I switched this around so that I could still move the board in midair with the left stick, but found that pressing the A button to jump and then moving my thumb straight over to the right stick to control rotation was a bit unwieldy. What I really wanted was a jump that was based on how long I held the jump button. A slight tap, and it's a small hop. Holding it down and then releasing would give a much higher jump. It'll make landing on a rail much easier. You could probably address some of the issues with spinning the board by allowing the player to charge their jump and spin. Once they hold the jump button, left and right movement is locked and the player is forced to go in a straight line until they can release the jump button. But during this charge, they could set the rotation of the board when the player finally jumps. I still think having the kickflip and heel flip buttons mapped to the left and right buttons is a good idea, so please keep that level of control exactly the same. Right now, there's no real reason not to spam the jump button, but if you're forced to make the player make fewer jumps by charging their abilities to get the most points, it would stop people like me from flipping around the map like Flubber and getting the most area covered. I also have some concerns with the grind button. I think once you've set the grind, you don't need to keep the button held down. Sometimes I just want to land a simple grind quickly without jumping a few feet in the air. So I'd like to see added a quick tap of the jump button to land the trick quickly and get the point secured, or a hold and then release to do a larger jump to continue the line. At the moment, it's very difficult to tell whether you're making any progress because you're always moving forwards. Think about it like this: you jump, you land, you sploosh a 360-degree area around you. Shortly after you landed, chances are you've already zoomed off and you won't really get a good feeling that you splooshed a bunch of paint because you don't really see your efforts immediately. Sure, you can look at the map, but when you're trying to flip and consistently spin a board in a physics game, I'm pretty certain your focus will be on the board or your next trick. not looking at the minimap on every landing. Splatoon and Rocket League are some of the core inspirations for Decksplash, and they each handle personal goal and objectives a little bit differently. Splatoon's personal reward is seeing paint being sprayed right in front of you. Even the roller, which leaves a trail, you can still see every single speck of paint as it's placed on the floor. The objective for Splatoon is normally paint a load of stuff, but because there's enemies killing you, it does two very clever things. First is, if you kill them, you get a feeling that you're not doing so bad because you've just gained the advantage. But even if the enemy kills you, you just get a few seconds to look at the map, see where you're needed, and rocket yourself straight into the action to help your teammates. Currently, Decksplash has a paint system which hides some of your actions off camera, and while there is a shockwave attack, it doesn't really take you out of the game enough to make you think about how you should plan your next grind. I was shockwaved twice in 2 hours, and I didn't feel like it made any impact on how I played. I just shrugged it off and moved on. Except that one time when I got paralysed for an entire game due to a bug. Rocket League is probably actually a lot more comparable to Decksplash due to the way it allows players to manipulate the car's rotation to perform sweet trick shots, of which I am terrible at. But while I fly around the map with the grace of a moth banging itself against the bright lights, I do get to see my teammates being much cooler than I ever will be, and that's simply because of the way the game uses the camera to lock onto the ball. This camera system is really good at letting players know where the objective is at all times. Decksplash hasn't got a bouncing ball to focus the players on a common goal, and that's a pretty big problem. You may argue that Splatoon doesn't really have a great big bouncing ball either to focus the core action, but due to the shooter mechanics in Splatoon, you have choke points which contain the action and give players something to work together with. Currently, the game is a mixture of Splatoon's paint mechanics, Rocket League's aerial acrobats, and Tony Hawk's graffiti modes. It takes a little from each, but needs to find its own niche to focus the gameplay. With it being an online game, there's little real interaction with any of your teammates or enemy except a zone marker you can place down to blast enemies or buff the combo of your teammates. I'm going to keep an eye on Decksplash because I think it has some potential, but still has quite a way to go in order to keep the action contained and feel like a true multiplayer experience. A few ideas is to make the map more vertical, which encourages the use of a grind system and coordinating lines. I mean, if the map was set on several small floating islands, it could be pretty fun to see these skateboards jumping from island to island. And then if a player falls because they've been blasted by an enemy player, they have a respawn counter. You can also limit the amount of paint a skateboard has and focus the players to return to a certain area or pick up power-ups to refill their paint levels. This could actually create some choke points as a team could try to defend a paint resupply station and help to try and contain some of the action. While I might have been quite critical in this video, I wish the developers the best of luck in bringing Decksplash to market. It's an interesting selection of ideas, but just needs a little bit more work to turn it into an awesome and unique experience. I just fear that the game will be compared to so many other games it never truly finds its own stride and audience, but here's hoping it will knock it out of the park in the coming months. Thank you very much guys for watching, and if you want to see more, well, feel free to hit the subscribe button. It's right there. Click it. I'll wait here. You can just click it now. You done it yet? Good. Right. Okay, I'm off. See you later.